What's up? What's up? Welcome back, everybody. This is Something You Should Know podcast. I'm Brian,
I'm Jonathan.
and how's your weekend, bro?
It was cool. I was chilling.
Anything exciting?
No, not really.
You just diddled with yourself at home.
Yeah. Fiddles.
Fuck you.
What?
Nah, I'm not good with like certain. I say certain things wrong.
Oh,
Like
diddle.
like,
You said diddle?
Yeah, I said diddle.
Fiddle.
Yeah, fiddle.
Like fiddle your thumbs.
I didn't think about that. I didn't know that's how it
Fiddle.
is. Make
Fiddle your fingers. There you go. With the
Alright.
F.
Alright, that makes more sense now. It's been 16 years since College Dropout by Kanye
no
West. Are you a Kanye fan? Just start off.
Yes.
Like, are you a stan? Or are you just,
Nah, not really. I just
you like his
appreciate
music?
his music and his style and his like originality.
hmm What's your, do you have a favorite song, album, time period you really like them?
Blood on the Leaves is one of my favorite Kanye songs. I Wonder, or what is it? I think that's what it's called. And I Wonder with that one guy. Or there's a feature on it.
Ooh, I'm not sure. Not that I remember.
Wait, what's the one with the album with the little bear shooting out of a rocket?
That's Graduation.
Graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I like that album.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I know what song you're talking about now. Okay, so you've been listening to him for a while.
Yeah, actually, that's like one of the albums I listened to. Or I remember I liked a lot of those songs like when they first came out when I was like 9 or something. Whenever that was. I don't even.
Yeah, kind of the same. That's kind of how I remember Kanye
Yeah.
as like a younger
Yeah.
kid, just on the radio. Graduation especially. College Dropout was his first album. Pretty sure.
Really?
Almost positive. I'm pretty sure when College Dropout. Was
When you dropped out of college, you started making music. Basically.
What's that? I don't. I always
Like-
thought if that was like his real story, like did he actually graduate? Is that
Yeah.
why his graduation came out? But I don't know if
Okay.
that's how that's actually what happened. But
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure it goes College Dropout. The one where he's the bear and he's opening the door. Late Graduation, I think,
Late graduation.
something like that, and then it's Graduation,
What's
or
with
late
the
no
bear?
late Registration. There you go.
Oh yeah.
College Dropout, late Registration, Graduation. First three. What's up with the bear? That's his I don't know. I don't really know. I've never really looked into that, but I think that's more of his. That was just his thing back then.
Yeah.
Like just a thing he played with, and I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose because obviously it was only those first three albums,
Yeah.
and then after that it was was he? Nah, it wasn't Yeezus. It was
All the one with all
My
the
Beautiful.
lights.
No, it was the
Dark Twisted some.
Nah, the Heartbreak one. My
Oh,
favorite one.
808.
808s and Heartbreak.
Heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah. But as I was saying, back to Graduation as a kid is like the first Kanye album I really remember listening to, especially because my brother liked it a lot.
Yeah.
College Dropout is his first album, and was College Dropout an album that you've listened to a lot, little bit? Have you listened to it before?
Actually, never listened to it fully.
Ah, perfect.
No.
So how'd you like it? What'd you think about it?
I didn't listen to it fully. I went up to what was it? It All Falls Down. It All Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I went up to there and I was like, oh, I remember this song. It's like, yeah, this song's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the rest of it aged well, or like as the song did.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
Wait, that's the only song you listened to?
No, I listened up to that song.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
but so you
It's like the third song. And that was this morning, or yesterday morning.
No, that's good. From the first three songs, though, like
My
what?
bad co-host. Sorry, Brian.
Nah, it
I let you
don't.
down.
Nah, it don't matter. From what you did here,
Yeah.
were all the three songs that you listened to, were they new? Were they besides All Falls Down? That I think you said you've heard
Yeah,
of
I've
it.
heard that one for
Yeah,
sure.
but the other two, did you hear them before? Or
I think
nah?
one of them was a skit.
I think the very first song is a skit.
Okay,
thing.
yeah. And after that, the second song didn't really stick with me. I don't think.
Okay. I think it was a really good album. It's like my second time, cause I went over it last year, for his 15th year anniversary, and same thing. It's still really good. I think to me, it's whatchamacallit. It's aged pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I told you, like within as long as something ages within 10 years, as long as it reaches the 10-year point, then it's pretty good. Because then after that, it gets a little hard.
Yeah.
Not it doesn't get hard to like, but kind of understand it. Because like I could listen to Wu-Tang.
To relate to it, are you saying?
Yeah, kind of relate to it, understand it, because you really do gotta like live through it to really fully understand an album. You know what I mean? Like it's not like we can listen to what's something that comes up like what's a fresh album now? Yeah, like a Drake album. Yeah. That's still very fresh and new. And a lot of people have lived through that. But stuff like College Dropout, like I was like early 2000s, but I was still like I wasn't old enough to really understand any of that or even understand the culture around it. So, like I was saying, like with Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, like it's a good album. I've gone back to it, listen to it, but it takes a minute to really understand the culture and what was going on during the time.
So like appreciate it, I guess.
Appreciate it, and with appreciation could come likeness. So, excuse me, but what's about it going on? College Dropout. You got anything else on? Actually, no. Sticking on Kanye. How do you feel about Kanye now? Since Life of Pablo.
I don't even think I listened to Life of Pablo.
Do you think he's fallen off?
No. I think Kanye's like a household name. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess. Go ahead. Maybe musically, he fell off, but I can't really say because I haven't listened to his last album. But I think he's a household name, so I don't know if he'll ever truly fall off until he gets like canceled. Is how I see it. So if he does something to get canceled, you know what I mean?
True, yeah. Is falling off to you more like? Is it just falling off as a celebrity or or is it falling off as like a musician, as an artist? Are those like the same thing or a little different?
No, I don't think they're the same thing. It's like when you fall off as an artist, like you lose your juice, like you lose your talent. Your talent is all used up or something.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying with that.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh no, yeah, I guess you pretty much answered the question. The way I feel about Kanye, I think he's fallen off just a little bit. I think so. Since Life of Pablo, just a little bit. Like I like Yeezus. I really liked Yeezus.
Same.
I appreciated it. It took me about like 2-3 years to really fully appreciate it. But besides that, I really liked it. Life of Pablo was just felt like filler.
And a lot of filler songs.
Yeah, and then just his last album was just disappointing. It just seemed like I'm pretty sure he made it in like 27 minutes or some shit, half an hour.
He made that whole album in 27 minutes?
Yeah, a bunch of it was just like not samples, but a bunch of reference tracks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they were just tracks that were used to make other songs, but they weren't real full complete songs.
That was the one with Ghost Town, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Even Ghost Town, he made that in I think a day or something like that. So I don't know.
I really like Ghost Town.
I could like hear it. I could hear the like it's not done yet.
He has such a short part too. He probably had that Cudi verse for like something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Music for this, man. Is that cool? Or I don't even know. I don't know how it works, but
yeah, like exactly. But yeah. I mean, I and then his whole like gospel thing. I didn't like that. I wasn't. It was alright. Like there's like 2-3 songs I liked from it, but
it's really what was that one called?
I forgot what it's called. It was a gospel one with like the blue circle and the white background.
Oh, okay.
What were you saying?
Did you see that clip of him like doing a house track like live?
Oh yeah, I saw that in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, and then someone comment was like, "When's Kanye dropping his house album?"
Oh, that'd be lit.
Yeah, I think it'd be lit. I know he's like a great producer.
He for sure could do it. I mean, like house music originated in Chicago, like the sound, the electric sounds from Chicago. So that'd be dope. That'd be really, I would appreciate. I'd like that.
I think it'd be dope, even if you just did like a 3-track EP or something.
Just to play around. I mean, yeah, he could for sure do it just because, like, he's a producer. He knows how to do all that. He could just fuck around and tell shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got on like Kanye. What about you?
That's all I got.
For sure. All right. Onto a little bit of politics. You know, Mike Bloomberg. Do you know who Mike Bloomberg is?
Negative.
Super negative. So Mike Bloomberg that I know, I think he was either the mayor, governor of New York, and he was the governor and mayor of New York for a pretty long while. I'm pretty sure it was like in the last 5 years, maybe 10, that he he hasn't been there anymore. And that's just like his political background. He's trying to run for president, or I think the last 4 months ago he said he wants to run for president. He's a billionaire. He owns that one company, Bloomberg something. It's like an investment thing.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, you probably seen it. A lot of people seen it around. He says he's a Democrat. He's running as a Democrat. What else should I say about him? Yeah, that's about it. He's not running. The way he's running is he's running with just strictly money. He's not running with anything else. He's not running as like any of these other politicians like Bernie or Biden or Warren or any of the other ones. He doesn't even have to do what they're doing because he's somehow changed the rules for the whole like debate thing, and he's possibly going to be able to go to the national convention, which is what this whole thing's about. And I mean I can explain that a little bit because I just learned about it yesterday too. So what's going on now is they're going to all the candidates are going to all 50 states. They're trying to get delegates, and there's a certain amount of delegates you have to get to make it to what's called the kind of national convention, which is called Super Tuesday. And from there, that's when they pick the Democratic nomination, blah, 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 go against Donald Trump. He's able to avoid that because he changed the rules with all his money, and he's going to do that. So, yeah, that's just some quick little... second context. There's a video that came out and I showed you about him saying some racist remarks about lower income neighborhoods and people who live in lower income neighborhoods. How'd you feel about it?
I don't know. It kind of made sense to me, it made sense to me that all the cops are in minority neighborhoods because that's where all the crimes happen, supposedly. But like you were saying, and which is also probably true, is that the reason why a lot of crimes are found to be committed in minority neighborhoods is because that's where all the cops are and that's where they catch everybody. So like in like non-minority neighborhoods, there aren't that many cops, so they don't catch people.
And so just to add more to what you're saying, so just to clear it up, I was saying that there's an increase. So like let's say we can take an example like our neighborhood. You ain't gonna see no cops around here. You start going toward like over here.
Yeah, no, I've seen
like not as many as if you went towards like Bay Point.
Yeah, definitely not.
Go towards Bay Point, you'll see a lot more. This is like a micro version of what places like New York was. I don't know if you've ever been in New York, but in New York, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, when Bloomberg was there, these lower income neighborhoods were like infested with cops. Like you'd see cops everywhere.
The stop and frisk, that was when that was active too, right?
That too. He implemented that, and that was pretty much. Do you know what stop and frisk is?
Yeah, they just like randomly stop you and ask for your ID and shit.
It gives the police authority and power to be able to, if they see you, they think you're a suspect, they can stop you and check you and everything. Imagine if California had that. That'd be crazy.
There's a lot of minority.
It'd be fucked up.
That would be.
Like that low key even happens. I'm pretty sure that happens in Arizona as well. Something similar, but it happens to a lot of Latino folks because they're not given the power to stop and frisk someone, but they're given that they're able to. They do this thing where they will pull people over to try to check their if they have green cards, and check their IDs. But they'll say like something with the light and all that stuff.
It's like an excuse.
Not discrimination.
Profiling.
Yeah, racially profiled. But back to Bloomberg thing. So the first thing he said that made sense. How? Why do you think it like made sense? Like what he was saying. Yeah.
It's probably statistically like supported of why he is saying that minority neighborhoods have a lot of crime because, like you were saying, it's like reported. That's where a lot of it's reported, and a lot of people get caught doing that. But either that's because there are a lot of cops there, or because that's actually what happens. Like there is a lot of crime there compared to non-minority neighborhoods, you know.
Oh, okay, get that. Actually, like hearing you like say that, it's kind of giving me. It kind of make me think of like the lens of Bloomberg, because for me, Bloomberg is coming off as just a wealthy politician, who might not really understand certain simple things as what I just told you, like the whole. When you infest neighborhoods with 5 times more cops than other neighborhoods, then of course there's going to be a higher chance of people so-and-so getting caught or even just more shit happening.
Yeah.
And so Bloomberg not knowing that, or Bloomberg being this wealthy white guy politician dude, I think in the video he's talking about the reports, right? He's strictly talking about the reports that's reported.
I don't even think he was. He was just saying, like, people were asking why he's saying this. And it's because, or he was like, people were asking why is he saying that minority neighborhoods are infested with cops or something like that. It was. He also was talking about guns, like, that, I forgot what he said, but.
Okay. I get what you're saying. So he was more just asking the question than explaining his own opinion, or do you feel like it was more of an opinion?
He was asking questions that he like recently, or that he frequently got, I think.
Okay. Would you think? Do you think Bloomberg? Because the whole thing was people were calling Bloomberg racist for it.
Yeah.
Do you believe Bloomberg is racist for? I don't want to just say saying what he said, but just continuing the stereotype belief that lower income neighborhoods are infested with bad people.
Yeah, I think he's just like, I think he feels that way, or he agrees with that stereotype. You know, to be saying that there needs to be cops in minority neighborhoods because that's where all the crimes happen.
Okay.
And I guess he'll trick people, or not, I don't know about trick people, but gain supporters of, like, racist people, I guess.
That agree with them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
easily.
For sure get support.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think that's also kind of it's kind of...
Trump move.
Yeah, for real. And it's just interesting because, like, Trump is from New York, I'm pretty sure. And Bloomberg, I don't want to say they have the same views, but they kind of have similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
Trump has come out Trump isn't even a politician, but before Trump said some, like, very racial things, or racist things, like Bloomberg, he's had some, not even just racist, but he's backed the opinions of very stereotypical things like this. Like, I don't know if you've heard about the Central Park 5 in New York. There's a documentary on it called When They See Us on Netflix, but pretty much it was these 5, I want to say middle schoolers. They weren't even in high school, but they're really young kids, and a woman got murdered in the park, Central Park, and this was during times of stop and frisk. And there's just hella, like, kids in all over the park, and so these random 5 kids who had nothing to do with it were falsely accused and were released, like, years later, like 20 years later, 10 years, like 15 years later. Trump was out trying to give them the death penalty. He was going on public TV, trying to putting ads inside the newspaper and the.
When he wasn't even a politician.
Yeah, no, he was just he was just a wealthy dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like same thing with Bloomberg here. Like Bloomberg wasn't doing. I think Bloomberg just even applying stop and frisk, and to understand that stop and frisk is an idea that happened during like slavery times. Like it was like I'm pretty sure it was either slavery or Jim Crow. Pretty sure it was Jim Crow.
I would assume Jim Crow.
No, you're right. It was Jim Crow, not slavery. Jim Crow. It was during that era of, that was something that was implemented to stop and frisk, and it was.
To bring that back is like.
Yeah, to bring that back even in the 90s or early 2000s, it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's stupid.
And the scary part also is it's not even just that he implemented it. I'm pretty sure people had to vote on it. Unless he's able to, unless he had that power to just implement it.
Yeah,
but
no,
I think people,
it.
I was about to say, I think people had to vote on it.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's even a little scary too.
Yeah. I'm not surprised though of how many racist people there are though.
Do you think
it would be passed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe the amount of racist people to minority people that actually vote, you know what I mean? Like, who votes more? Like, I guess.
Yeah. Minorities vote. It depends by the year, but yeah, minorities seem to vote less, a lot less sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. So I try to think about it. Like, what if California try to do that? That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
I don't think it'd get passed though.
Oh hell no. California's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like San Francisco has like this cool thing. I think it's like a sanctuary city, or something like that. Where
yeah.
I don't think I think if there like if you were an immigrant, you were there, or like you can't be deported if you're in San Francisco, some kind of thing like that of it being a sanctuary city. So stuff like that's really cool. That's in California.
That is cool.
But yeah, continue. Is that all you got? You got any more thoughts on Bloomberg or?
Not really. Just burn the White House. I'm just kidding.
Burn shit. Fuck school.
Alright, so Brian sent me this article about El Salvador. It was about like 200 or so Salvadorians getting killed. That's all you said in the message. It was like this is what the article was about. It's about Salvadorians getting killed, and like stuff like that. And then I didn't know why. Oh, it was while they were being deported.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like wow. I thought it was like I thought it had something to do with the kids in cages thing. Like, you know, like
not so much, but yeah.
I thought it was like something like that, but the article was talking about how like 200 plus Salvadorians have died after being deported from 2013 to like 2019.
Yeah, last 6 years.
Yeah, and the reason they're dying or getting killed / raped and abused is because the reason they left El Salvador in the first place was to flee from or gain like sanctuary from the gangs in El Salvador. So when they go back, like they're like, oh, you tried to leave, and you're back now. Like that's why they kill them, you know, because they try to get away from them. But so I was like, yeah, I kind of knew that was a thing. I knew that there's a lot of, I guess I don't know if it's oppression, but there's just a lot of pressure from gangs out there. They have a big presence almost in every town, every city out there, and. Like one thing I was gonna add was that I've heard of gangs asking or demanding like rent money from like houses or like businesses, just fucking houses that they claim as territory. You know what I mean? So if they don't pay the rent, then they threaten them like they're gonna kill them, probably rape them, something like that. So if they don't give them the rent money, then then they just fuck with them. The gang members fuck with the normal citizens and shit. So that's why a lot of people will try to leave. But there's 6 million people in El Salvador, what I read from the article. Yeah. And 60,000 MS-13, or not MS-13. I think there's two main gangs out there. But 60,000 gang members out of the population.
And I think that's Is that just in El Salvador, or was that around the world, around the...
Central America?
Yeah.
MS-13 is...
So I know MS-13 is all over.
Yeah, damn near. But
Yeah.
I think they started in
So
El
it's
Salvador.
60,000 within El Salvador alone.
Yeah, and then there's
so
probably
that's a
more.
lot. And El Salvador is not that big. It's not like El Salvador is
It's like
like
the
the
smallest
U.S.
country in
Yeah.
Central America, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like you said a little earlier, there's a little bit of, not even just MS-13, just gangs in general all over. Would you say all over El Salvador? Would you say there's even, like, pockets in El Salvador that just aren't, like, touched?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are, like, nice, like San Salvador, the capital, I think is pretty well maintained, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for tourist attractions, stuff like that. Because without that, the government would get, like, a lot more involved because I guess their capital and their tourism is a lot of source of, like, money, you know, for the state, or for the country.
Yeah. You said something interesting when you said the whole, the gang members try to kind of rent money from things that they call property.
Yeah, they demand rent money from people just because they can. Just because they have the will to fucking be violent.
And, like, this article was strictly only El Salvador.
Yeah.
Which is also, when I was reading, I was like, damn, 200 plus, and I think there's some people, that was just deaths and tortures and rapes and all that, but that wasn't even the people that went missing. That was addition to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this also needs to be including like a bigger picture. This isn't just El Salvador that has to deal with things like that. Like even in people from Peru, I know a lot of people that the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's gangs that try to do that. I think that same reason is why my parents like years ago came over. Was there's just a lot of shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
And even like gangs like that, it's still happening today, and it's happening within every Central America, South American country.
Yeah.
And so, it's 200 plus, and thousands of more missing within El Salvador. Now times that by just every other country within Central America, South America.
Yeah.
It's
with bigger
really,
populations,
it's
maybe.
a lot bigger population. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So, what was I gonna say? How
should this problem be resolved?
In a way, yeah. How should a problem be resolved? How would what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that kind of just how does this problem get resolved?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the U.S. is going through a situation where I'm pretty sure it's a lot harder to get into the U.S. or to even get asylum in the U.S.
Yeah.
How would you? What would you say would be something that can help, or how could people help immigrants going through situations like this?
Oh, people help immigrants?
Yeah, immigrants in general.
Coming to the U.S., I think, well, it's kind of just my imagination, but like if people were to, or if there was a program or something that allowed houses or families to open their home as a sanctuary, I guess, asylum for people, you know what I mean? Like if they want to like register under some program, be like, okay, we're willing to help people that are seeking asylum from, violence in their country. You know what I mean?
No, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
but
that idea.
then what if like some gang members just try to secretly seek asylum and then come over and
I was gonna say that.
fucking house?
I was gonna say that as like just to say that back, but it's also like you could be strict on it. You could be very strict on it if it was backed up. Yeah. If it was, because obviously the governor. I mean, I feel like if the government tried to do something like that with people with with U.S. citizens, and they gave them the backing, like we'll help you do a background check, we'll help you help you stay safe as well. It would probably be a little better.
Yeah, I think that's an idea.
Or probably even take it a step further and allow you to give sanction to family members. I think that would be the safest and also as destructive as possible.
That's like reasonable.
Yeah, it's a lot more reasonable.
Yeah. And
family or friend.
Yeah. Not
just someone random, you know what I
mean? Yeah, even then though, it's like bringing more people into the country, increasing the population. Mm-hmm. And like, those people need jobs. Like it would basically be like adopting. You know what I mean? Like if they want to just provide for that person like that, but that's up to if they wanted to actually do that. But not everybody can. So that just goes back to regular people, immigrants. Like they need to look for work and housing. Not housing, because the housing will be provided by the people that volunteer, but I guess more so employment. You know.
I agree with that, but I feel like even like situations like the one that was mentioned with Javier, was that his name, right? With Javier, was 17-year-old Javier when he was fleeing. Was he fleeing from like he was a part of? Was he a part of the gang, or was he fleeing from the El Salvador?
The gang, because he was like gonna be, he like fled from an initiation.
Yeah, okay. Like so he was fleeing from initiation to come to the States to avoid that. He got here right, and then they sent him back.
Yeah, when he was 23 or something.
Yeah, so he got here, sent him back, and then a year, maybe less than a year later, he was killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So situations like that, I feel like when someone's applying for asylum, the main thing is just safety, not work, not put money in their pockets, and that's what I think. Like the whole family idea, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And maybe even apply something where maybe they're not able to get a job, but they're safer here than back home. And there might be some like other loopholes. Like, are they lying about needing the safety? Are they just trying to get here? But I mean, I feel like there's other things you can implement, saying that they're only here for safety and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's even a bigger conversation that probably needs a lot more research. But for this one, I think it's really important that this guy actually got put out, because this is in the last 6 years, since 2013, 14, yeah. So it's been a while, and this is going to continue to go on. Like, I've heard several stories of mostly MS-13 things, but it's also border stories of what they have to deal with just going over, what they have to, who they go through, stuff like that. It's sad. I hope. So like I've heard people say that the U.S. has an immigration problem, and the U.S. needs to figure out their stuff first before they try to take in more people. How much do you think that Mexico and the Central American countries rely on the U.S. border being open?
Rely on it?
Like because okay, so my thing is El Salvador. I don't know how close El Salvador is to the U.S., but I'm pretty sure it's in Central America, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a minute to get to the border, to get to the U.S. Do they try to go to Mexico first, or would you say El Salvadorians try to go to Mexico first, or do they just try to go anywhere?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they go. Oh, you're right. I think they would go more towards America, because I think MS-13 is spread to neighboring countries. You know what I mean? Because I think crossing the border of countries in Central America is a lot less hard than coming to the U.S. So they probably don't want to be as close to El Salvador or home than they would be in America.
That's possible. Yeah.
And because America's has the American dream, or grants the American dream. Everybody wants to come to America.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't hear about people. You don't hear about people in Mexico going south, really, right? Like further south.
Not that I know of. I'm pretty sure what I've heard about Mexico and the south side of Mexico is, from what I've just heard, I don't really know that much about Mexico's demographic and which region, but I'm pretty sure the south is a lot more. There's a lot more El Salvador, a lot more not just El Salvadorians, but El Salvadorians, Central Americans, South Americans are a lot more in the south than they are in the north.
That makes sense. When you think, or how I was saying that, on top of it, or another question I have is, how do you? I feel like that's asking another country to help the El Salvador. When I personally feel like El Salvador should do something within its own borders to do something about the problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
And I just don't see how they haven't made much progress, I guess, to do anything.
Do you think it's just too far along, these just gangs?
I think it's been far along enough to the point where now it's a wartime.
War.
Yeah, damn near another civil war, like 60,000 people. That's a lot of damn people in one. In like, and like the main thing is like it's only like 2 gangs that are in control of, or like that hold most of the power. I forgot the names, but yeah, it was 1970.
Okay.
World Cup Finals. No, Mexico versus El Salvador.
That's what this deal about.
Yeah, I think so.
The same situation is kind of in Mexico too with the narcos, right?
Yeah,
Narcos have been infiltrated the government.
Yeah. And they have like paid cops and shit.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
I'm sure that's the same shit in El Salvador.
Mm-hmm. Like I remember my great grandma telling me this was Peru, but this was during the time. I don't know if it was Escobar's time, but it was during the time that are narcos or those the gangs also, or just a little different?
Basically.
I want to say narcos. So they were very heavy influenced in Peru at one point in her time, and she's just like she kind of lived through, and she told me a couple stories about it, and it was pretty crazy, and also just understanding that like they really do infiltrate governments sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part, because imagine if that happened here.
Yeah.
If that happened here, that'd be, oh my god.
Yeah. The military's too funded here. It's too like strong. The military, I guess.
True, that's true, and I'm actually surprised I've never heard that argument when people say, "Oh, we need to take less money from our government." I mean, not from our government, from our military.
Yeah.
I never hear the argument that, oh, we'll end up like these countries that don't.
Yeah.
They didn't really care about their army like that. They had one, but they didn't really like put so much money into it that like as much as the U.S. did. I think that's interesting. I think that's pretty interesting. Like these other, they care about other things.
Yeah.
You know, like
I feel like the cop or police force has had an influence on that too, because like I guess maybe the police system here is stronger than it is down there, and like they have a lot more control over just drug trafficking, I guess, like on the larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scale of like narcos or like down there.
Yeah, it's all just very different. Like even when I go to Peru, it's just very different than here. Like,
Also, it's money, dude. Like there's a lot of money that comes into the countries down there because they sell to us or they sell to America. You know what I mean? Like they ship their drugs from there to here, right?
Yeah.
Like, for the most part. So yeah, it's I feel like that's another reason why they keep going, or the narcos are still like
very heavy, thriving. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. That's a good ending. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I was thinking like, if people were trying to ask me for rent on top of rent, I was already trying to pay. Like it's wartime. Like
like. Do you think it should be a war within the government though, with the gangs, or a war within just the people?
Yeah, it's like damn near another civil war. It's not even a civil war, but like it's just like the gangs. Like it should be the Salvadorian army doing something about it.
It really should be the Salvadorian army because it's citizens.
I'm sure the citizens would be willing to join the army to like get their shit back or whatever, just for the bigger cause. Unless they're, for some reason, they wouldn't. I would. I'd do what I.
It'd be
to disinfect the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It just seems like real scary shit, to be honest.
I don't even know, or I'm pretty sure they do have guns, but I don't think they have that much like firepower, like the gangs down there. Because I don't see how they would. That's like leftover army shit, leftover Civil War shit.
It just seems like money. Seems like money is a big factor into why all this happened, why all this has happened.
And you know, El Salvador uses American dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
They don't got their own?
No.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
So shit expensive over there?
I don't think so.
Okay. No. So it's the same. It's the
like
same
quarters and shit. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I was gonna say, damn. Usually think stuff out there is like a little cheaper. Not in the Salvador, just sure Central Mexico, South America is a little cheaper.
It's just like the ratio of like money to product. You know what I'm saying?
That's about all I got on it. For sure. So that's about it. All I got for this week. I was gonna point out you did get a haircut.
I did, and I did it myself for the most part.
Wait, you lined yourself up too or no?
Yeah, I feel like that's why I so fucked up. No.
Nah, that ain't that bad. I was about to say, you can do a better job than I can. I can't even. My shit would be like this. But.
I did it at my sister's house. My brother-in-law had some clippers, and I just did like a 4 all around. And he helped me with like the finishing touches, like squared off the back, you know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You usually get a buzz or?
No, I always get like a 6.
Oh, so you usually keep your hair long.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Long. But next time, I'm gonna do 4 on top again.
Yeah, because it's not that bad. I feel like if shorter, or do you usually get it shorter or you usually get a 4?
I think 4 is the lowest I've got on the top.
I feel it.
How'd you get in here?
That's all I got for this week. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right.
Not
For
really.
sure. See y'all next week.
See ya.
Enjoy.